Christian, so much work went into this season. What does it mean to you to finish first overall in the NLL?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's kind of one of those first goals when you start the season, and we kind of need some help tonight from other teams. And I think you just try to control the controllables. Obviously, we wanted to end the season at home on a win, especially for the fans and fan appreciation night. But obviously, the job's not finished. It just kind of means that we get that home playoff advantage for at least round one, and hopefully we can continue that momentum and use it to our advantage.
Yeah, I was going to say the momentum. How do you use the momentum today for the playoffs next week?
Yeah, it's big, right? I think it's just playing 5-minute segments and knowing everything's must win, especially in the first round, it being a one-game knockout. Like, you can't afford to have those lulls or kind of have those slow 5-minute segments or start to the game. So I think just dialing in and having the bend don't break and showing up for that first whistle.
What'd you like about the defense in front of you tonight?
Yeah, I think all year just their ability to adjust and kind of how many different skill sets we have, the veteran presence, the young athletes, all of that. I think it's just that ability to match up with different stylistic teams and athletes and kind of goal scorers, and it shows kind of with our goals against and everything like that.
Keegan finishes the NLL top in points. You've had the pleasure of working with him and training with him over the last few years. What do you see from him?
Yeah, just like a true professional, I think would be the easiest way to describe him. I think you see he's a family man. He's got a young kid. His wife's a doctor. He's got a very serious career, and he still manages to kind of wake up at 5:30, go practice with us on Tuesdays. He's still in the gym. He's still doing all the physical stuff. He's sending out clips to the teams. It's, I think, just a really prime example of kind of the balance you need to have in our league and that ability to treat this like true professional sports. So he's somebody we lean on, and all the success he's had this year is not an accident. Everybody knows that within the dressing room.
It's another year where you guys have had one of the best goals against in the league. So what's worked for you overall and just the defense overall?
Yeah, I think just being malleable. I think like the reality with our league is you're going to play really good teams and really good goal scorers, and sometimes you go in with that first plan and you have to be able to adjust. And I think that's something as a coaching staff they're very good at, and I think it just makes it easy for us as players to succeed. Right? We think less, and they kind of tell us what we need to be doing, but that also is just kind of having that veteran presence on the back end that's able to do so.
Fan appreciation night, Christian. These fans have been supporting you guys all season long, and especially this franchise. When, at the start they went through some tough times, but the years have become brighter and brighter as time has gone on. What does the fan support mean to you guys inside the room?
No, it's awesome, right? Especially, I think, being a local guy, seeing familiar faces in the stands and kind of seeing that steady growth and buy-in and kind of more fans and jerseys, all that stuff. It means a lot as players, right? Without them spending their hard-earned money to come watch us, we wouldn't have a career, we wouldn't have a league. So it's very important for us to win at home and kind of give them something to cheer for because they do so much for us as players.
One thing I notice oftentimes about your game is that your rebound control, it's continued to look stronger and stronger as the games have gone on. From tonight specifically, what were you seeing perhaps from those Philadelphia shooters that allowed you to be so effective?
Yeah, no, I think it's a young team that was kind of playing with nothing to lose, and we kind of talked about that going in, right, that you can't let off the gas and you have to take them serious. And I think they just played with great momentum. They got to the net at times. They crashed and banged, but I think we kind of had that bend, don't break. But overall, I think it's just a building block.
How excited are you to start the playoffs at home next week?
It's awesome, right? Home floor advantage is a big deal, right? Getting in front of our fans and giving them something to cheer for. But at the end of the day, you're just kind of going through the motions like we did all year, right? Every game the whole year was must win, and obviously there's nothing different than playoffs. Kind of the real season starts now.
Christian, the success for the Warriors filters on down to the minor system as well. And, I mean, you've grown the minor system with where you're living, and Curt as well. It just seems to take off. It's got to help.
No, it's awesome, right? And I think just more so even the minor level, the junior lacrosse level, kind of seeing these guys that, for me, like at 28 or whatever I am now, it feels like I'm not that far removed, but it's something that's cool, right? Seeing Jeff Cornwall and Travis Cornwall working with Poco, right? Seeing Mouse and Maple Ridge, me with Coquitlam, and then Burnaby Jr., all this stuff. Like, it's nice to see our guys giving back and seeing that growth because there's so many guys like Curt, like Pat Coyle, all these kind of Hall of Famers that did the same for us growing up.
Looking forward to next week. You played Halifax not too long ago, just last week. What's going to be important in that game, and what do you guys need to do to dial in against them?
Yeah, I think it's like the 5-minute mentality and segments, right? I think we can't get too far ahead of ourselves and the not too high, not too low. Like, we know they're a tough team. We know they're resilient. I think Warren Hill's a great goalie that they have in net, so they do a lot of things well, and I think we just have to have a well-rounded game, right, where our plan isn't just to beat them in one segment of the game. You have to win different battles throughout, so we'll see what happens.
Jumping off of what Steve said about junior lacrosse, I know during the 2024 Minto Cup, you turned your Instagram page into a Jack Cask fan page. What's your relationship like with him, and do you still keep in touch?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty close with the family. I'm close with his dad, Gord, too, and I'm kind of helping with Burnaby now with him. But Jack's just kind of a guy, I think I first met him when he was on a U8 team with Ramo Shinato, one of the guys that's on our team now here. So it kind of tells you how long we've been around them. But he's a gamer, right? And I think you see a lot of these young goalies coming up, like Caleb Kahn. You see Manning and Victoria, right, that are kind of the future. And you see just the athleticism and then the overall focus that they can bring.
This is a team that's built for playoffs. What's the key in your mind? You've won before. A lot of guys in this room have won before.
It takes a little bit of everything, right? I think some of it's momentum. There is like an element of ball luck because there is other good teams, but I think it's just dialing in everything, right? It's the crispness and kind of that overall execution. You can't really drag your feet or let off the pedal, and I think you have to know that every game's must win, but I think having that veteran present and kind of having those young, hungry players will serve us well.
This is a game where maybe you guys didn't have to be as sharp as you were, but you were very sharp. Does that give you confidence going into next week?
Yeah, I think once the game's over, the game's over. I think we kind of treated every game this year as kind of you have to win, must win. So overall, it's a good way to go into playoffs, but we're kind of on to our next battle. It looks like we're playing Halifax, obviously, like we talked about. So we'll watch film. We'll kind of do our little bit of rehab and rest up and get right back to it.
All right, you guys finished the NLL top of the pack. How does that feel? And when you think about it, like, what do you think about all the work that you put in this season?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. It's important because we want to secure home throughout the playoffs. But, we play a one and done coming up, and I think that's just our focus right now, and we're just happy that we get to do that at home.
How important was the win tonight? You got things going, but in the third quarter, everyone sort of jumped in and was contributing up and down the lineup. How important is that going into next week?
Yeah, I thought we started a little bit flat, especially on offense. We were moving the ball a little bit too slow, and then, we started firing it around, and everyone contributed. And I think it's a good game to go into the playoffs for us. Get some confidence and just start playing the right way in that second half. So need to continue that.
4 goals for you in the second quarter alone. What was clicking so well for you offensively in that stretch?
Yeah, I mean, some nights your shot's falling, some nights it's not. I think that's the beauty of sports. And tonight was one of those nights.
We talked about 2 guys last week, Curtis Dixon and Jesse King. Mm-hmm. You had great chemistry with them once again tonight. What makes that connection click so well on the turf?
I think first and foremost, they're really good people. I think they're very selfless people. And that kind of echoes throughout our entire team. Like there's no me guy on our offense, and I think that's what makes it work so well. Everyone's just rooting for one another, and we all just want to score as a unit, and we don't really care who scores.
Keegan, another great season for you. Finished top of the league in points, and I know for yourself, personal accolades don't mean much. But what can you say about the process that's led you to get here? Coach Curt just talked about it. 15 years ago, he asked you to come and be a defensive player for him, but you said no. I'm an offensive player in this league, and to see your hard work being rewarded here with the scoring title this season, what can you say about the process?
Well, there's one more game, so I don't think anything's set. But at the end of the day, I'll look back on it when I'm done playing, and maybe it'll mean something then. But right now, it's just focused on that next game for us. Like I said, it's a one and done, and anything can happen in a 60-minute lacrosse game. So I think for us, we just want to play the right way. And I think my season's just a testament to the guys that I play with, the coaching staff that we have here, the management. It's just such a great culture, and we have so much skill and so much depth, and we're just excited to get the real season going.
Last one for me. What did the crowd support mean to you guys, not just this season, but all season long? Another great crowd packed Rogers Arena tonight.
Yeah, I love playing at home, and I think that's why it's so important for us finishing first, so we can play here as long as possible. And we have some of the best fans in the league, and we appreciate them so much. And we feed off so much of their energy that they bring.
When you look forward to Halifax, you just saw them last week. They're a tough team. What do you guys need to do to be successful in that first 5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, they're a very good team. They're very physical. They impose their will. And I think Warren Hill's playing incredible right now. So I just think we stick to our principles. We move the ball as much as we can on offense. Our D is just, they're very physical and imposing themselves. And then obviously we have Delbs in the net. So I don't think we change much. We just play our game.
This is a group that's been built for playoffs. How exciting is it to be here now?
Yeah, like I said, this is the real season. This is where it starts. So for us, you know, this is what you play for. Like as a competitor, we play a team sport, and it's really the only thing that matters.
Coach, what does it mean to you to get first overall to finish the season in this fashion?
You know what? It feels good in the fact that you know, the fans in British Columbia and the you know, the Aquilini family and our organization, you know, they went through some lean times, and you know, it's been some tough sledding, and there's some guys on this team, you know, Ballers, I can speak to him, and Mitski was there for a bit, and it's just been tough for them, and I'm super proud of those guys, and you know, they have an opportunity to, you know, they've earned a chance to you know, finish at the top, and the fact that, you know, we got home floor in the first quarterfinal game, which is big for us, and then what happens after that happens after that. But it's just really nice to see the fans out there and be able to support us and you know, drive us to being successful tonight. So it's really neat. And then we had fan appreciation night, and that was it's kind of the best part of the whole thing, really, to be honest with you, is be personable and take some pictures and sign some autographs, and that's what it's all about.
How important was the win tonight rolling into next weekend?
You know, we talked about it being a template to the quarterfinal game, and we all know in the quarterfinals that it's a one and done, and it goes so fast. So, you know, our 5 minutes at a time, I know it's probably, I speak to nauseam on it every single week, but, you know, we wanted to make sure that we were good on that, and when they would score, our offense responded back, and Adler did a really good job in the face-off circle, and the game got a bit testy at times, but, you know, I like the fact that our guys jumped in for each other and had each other's back, and, you know, they were around our crease quite a bit, and, you know, we got the top goal in the league, and we just want to make sure to protect them, and, you know, he kept his composure really well, and so did the defensive guys, and you know, and we just kept on grinding, and you know, to put up 17, that's a good defensive lacrosse team, and then the Moods had a great last little bit of the season, so kudos to the guys for sure.
Keegan got you started, but the guys in the third quarter, everyone contributed. How important is that going into next weekend?
Yeah, it's always offense by committee, and you know, like when there's a relapse on the defense, the offense kind of bailed them out, and when we're struggling to have a bit of a dry time, our D, you know, steps up. So it's like an absolute team effort all the way through, and you know, you want to be tough between the whistles, and we were pretty disciplined tonight. I think 4 penalties each side, and the referees were excellent. And I thought, you know, again, it's going to come down to poise, composure. Special teams that are going to be successful, and you know, we just have to make sure that we're walking that line and not crossing it. And I thought we did that tonight, and I liked how we controlled momentum pretty well too. So it's going to be a tough battle against Halifax next week, but we'll start preparing as of tonight.
Curt, you know, as you said, you know, pretty strong game from your team throughout all 4 quarters. I believe you guys were somewhere near 18 for 30 in the face-off circle. You mentioned the great face-off play there as well. But talking about the transition game, how pleased were you with the transition game and the way the defense pushed? You know, they pushed the ball after stops.
Yeah, we got some systematic rules where we contain your man before you peak. We make sure we got the buzzer, the whistle, and you know, Delbs, you know, he gets a lot of assists and he's a world-class goaltender, but everything around his crease, his rebound control and picking up loose balls and starting the transitions a big part of it. And you know, I think a couple of years ago we ran before we defended, and now we defend and then we run. So it's a kudos to all the guys in the back end understanding when and where to go. And you know, we got some very athletic guys and we got some super savvy guys who are making their decision making. And you know, sometimes 5-on-5 gets kind of tough in there. It's tough to get to the middle of the floor and teams jamming in. And you know, for us to be able to open it up a little bit and score in transition takes a lot of pressure off everybody else. So they're nice to have those goals.
Kept Philly 2 for 4 on the power play. Your own power play was 2 for 4 too. What did you like to see on the man advantage?
We had some good chances. Like we're to be truthful, like we don't want to show a ton. You know, you kind of get up a little bit, and you don't want to throw some new things in there. So you're just trying to recreate some shots, and you're also thinking about next week. To be honest with you, and you know, we hit a couple of good shots early, but you know, there might have been more to come if we were looking at doing that. But you need to go 75% on the power play, and you need to keep them probably 60% on your short man. And our short man's been great all season long. You know, Robbie Williams puts in a good game plan, and we have some phenomenal athletes back there and super intelligent, high IQ guys, and you know, Dilksy up top picking that one off and then goes down the floor and scores. So you know, we got a lot of guys that have been through the grind and they understand this is just one step in the process, but the real season starts next week. So they'll enjoy it a little bit tonight, not much, and we'll be prepared for next Friday.
Last one for me, another strong night for Christian Del Bianco. How important was his rebound control and, his ability to spark transition plays heading down the other end of the floor?
Yeah, it's not just getting the ball, stop. Obviously, it's stopping the ball first, and we believe he's the best in the business to do that. And then, his rebound control, like you mentioned, again, I think the ball drops right down around his crease, and he's got it, and it's up and it's out. And, everyone kind of looks at his assists, which are phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. He's the best gunslinger in the league, I think. But it just gives us long clocks on offense, to get the ball up so quick, whether we score, whether we don't. We're not short clocking ourselves, meaning that we're 14, 15 seconds. We're working with 23, 24-second clocks at times, and that can really grind other teams' defenses down, especially in a one-off final. So to have them doing that is really big for us, and just to have everybody around them to trust to get up the floor is a big part too.
What's worked well for your defense, not just tonight, but all season?
Physicality. I said before, like there's a line that you don't want to cross, and you don't want to take undisciplined penalties. We talk about self-discipline is really the only discipline that works, and everybody's doing their job and taking care of their discipline. And usually it's a good team discipline. So I like how heavy we play. I like how that we finish our checks and slides, and I like how we get in shooting lanes. I like how that we just battle together as a five-man unit. It's never just one guy. Everyone's kind of pulling on the rope on the back end, and one night it's a different guy, and the next night it's another guy. And I thought Owen Grant was absolutely outstanding tonight out the back end and grabbing loose balls and taking care of the ball. We're a possession team. Everyone knows that. And, it's tough for the other team to score when we have it. And it's also tough to create momentum when we're keeping the ball away from them. So, all year long, I like their physicality. I like our IQ. I like our compete. And, some games we're not quite one and dones, meaning they come down, they get one shot. They get a couple multiples, but we've identified that lately, and I think we're better at it.
Keegan finishes top in the league in points. What have you seen from him all season long?
Dedication, commitment. He just puts in so much hard work. We chuckled. It might have been 15 years ago or so. I called him when I was with Calgary, and I said, Keegan, you want to come play out the back end? And he goes, sorry, coach, no disrespect. I'm an offensive player in the National Lacrosse League, which is pretty cool. Come full circle and then be a part of him and his teammates. And he's at the top of the league right now. And I think he's got a pretty good lead. And I want nothing more to a guy like that to win the scoring tie. I know he doesn't care if he's playing for the last game of the year and the picture that we talk about, but just to have, just it's kind of a great story for all the young athletes. And when someone kind of says, I'm not too sure if this is where you should play, but you stay dedicated and committed to your craft, and you work extremely hard. We feel he's the MVP of the National Lacrosse League, and hopefully his peers and our peers feel the same way. But what a humble guy, what a nice guy, what a great representative for the National Lacrosse League, to be honest with you. He's still out there signing autographs, and he's such a personal guy and just extremely hardworking, extremely humble, and we're just proud to have him here, so I can't be happier for him.
Looking forward to next week. You just saw Halifax last week. What are some of the things that you want to do to start the game? I'm not going to ask you to give it all away. I know you too well for that, but like the first 5 minutes, what do you want to see from the guys?
Just take care of the ball. I think, they got a world-class face-off guy. Jake Withers is exceptional. Their goaltending's been playing lights out. Their defense is physical. We just got to take care of the ball. We just got to stay disciplined. They run a really good transition game. I watched the Ottawa game for parts of it this afternoon. They just ran them into the ground and demoralized them. They got a lot of champions on that team, as do we do. I think it's going to be a super tough matchup. Honestly, the standings mean nothing other than the fact that you're playing at home. But again, that means nothing in a one-off. It really doesn't. And it's going to come down to the team that's most disciplined, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, and the teams that's just going to have that bend don't break mentality, because it's typically probably going to be a one-goal game. And you look down the standings, and I don't think anybody in the National Lacrosse League can say, I wanted to play this team or I want to play that team. It's going to be one heck of a playoff. The parity this year is amazing. So we're just going to have to start preparing, and I know we already talked about that, and it's going to be a quiet night for us. We're going to be prepared for them for Friday.
This is a group that's been built for playoffs. How nice is it to be here?
Yeah, no question. I'd like if it was a 4-7. I think everybody would, then you kind of got some time to kind of readjust, and if you don't have a great night, but it's the way the National Lacrosse League is. And, we brought guys here over the years with championship pedigree that have won national championships. There's one thing about getting there and not quite getting it done, but, having those guys that have climbed the mountain and won multiple championships is really big for us. And, they're passing on all that knowledge, and then you bring in good young guys that want to follow that lead and want to learn how to win, because it just doesn't happen overnight. And I think we've put a lot of scars on ourselves this season. We've had some tough nights, we've had some good nights. We got pounded by Buffalo pretty good. San Diego came in here and handed it to us, so we've had some tough ones, but I think that all just gives you experience and for battling forward. But I know that this team's super dedicated, and I always say, like, you play for next week. I don't think we want it to end, so I think they'll be fighting hard for each other next Friday.
What's the key playoff-wise, generally in playoffs?
special teams, discipline, goaltending is important. Possess the ball. You can't be throwing it away. And you have to control momentum. We feel that we have key markers that we can control momentum. I'm not saying it's a perfect game plan, but we have some things that we kind of follow. And you got to have a little luck, Steve, to be honest with you. The ball's around and it's going to go one way for you, and the next night it's not going to go for you. But, we like to think if we have it and they don't have it, and we're smart with it, we dictate where our shots come from, we try to have a good defensive game plan against them, and then it's just, battle hard. Whoever's going to come out at the end of the compete battle, and it's going to be a one-goal game, I'm sure of it.